What question would you ask a system, and what would you do with that information? So, Michaela, if you want to dive in.
Sure. I guess I just, segue on the Fortune 1000. I'd want to know everything about my customers. I would know everything about their finances, the competition, the industry, specifically what's in our agreements around our customer base, to really understand that today, we have systems to do that, but it's extremely static. And I would like something that's more proactive, not reporting the news, but really more real-time insights.
So looking for understanding where you stand, and then looking forward, and then acting and being able to act or ask additional questions.
Yes, more predictive.
Absolutely. What about you, Dana?
I think the number one question that I get from CROs is trying to identify the attributes of their top sales performers and trying to replicate those throughout the entire organization. So to ask those questions objectively and then to get an objective answer would probably be the number one question that people would want to see. And it's often not the answers that they would expect, just in terms of the number of calls that they're making or the types of accounts, but also the types of conversations that they're having and how they can take that lightning and put it in a bottle and replicate it throughout the entire sales organization. It's hard to get that answer.
So something we've talked about earlier that I think is interesting of this next move is that filter perspective. So moving from someone that is providing that information or advising, and I still think some type of narrative will be important, and shifting to raw, unemotional data. How do you see that shift coming, and how do you prepare for that?
I just got chills as you were asking the question, because it could be somewhat of a scary proposition. I've spent most of my career in sales and revenue operations and collaborating with that leader of the sales organization for the company and talking about what's happening in the market, talking about what's happening throughout the quarter, throughout the year. And then I don't want to say spinning a narrative, but also more like explaining what's happening in the forecast for the current quarter. So there are some filters that get placed upon the performance of the sales organization, especially when the CRO is going in to have a conversation with the CEO of the company or even to the board of directors. Now imagine all those individuals have the ability to query the system without ever speaking to you first, and they're asking for that objective view of what's going to happen. So tell me what the forecast is for the quarter, and then the system comes back and tells the board of directors what the forecast is for the quarter, and it's different than what you've been representing because you've had your own opinions and your own subjective ideas of what could potentially happen. So that's going to change the dynamic inside of companies once OpenAI is available inside of the enterprise, and we have to be prepared for that. And Sarah, just to think about ways of doing that, we have to start thinking about perfecting our data inside of companies today, so that when it does start to speak and give interpretations of what's happening, it's speaking from a position of truth and reliability. And most companies that I'm talking to today are not in the position where they would just allow or even want anybody to openly query their data without having some sort of a filter on it.